Oh man, I love this song. Every time I hear it, I can remember where I was and who I was with. It reminds me of the time. Does this sound familiar? Music is like a scent. It can instantly transport you to another time and place. I ask my guests to dish about their song with the memories that go with it. I'm your host, Tiffany Mason. I have a passion for music and a curiosity about how a song affects someone and why. Turn up your radio and let's explore Memories with a Beat. Hello, Podcast Land. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Memories with a Beat. And today you saw the title. We're talking White Ferrari, Frank Ocean. Y'all, when I looked this up, I did not see this on the initial search on Apple Podcast. So we are going deep tracks today. I'm excited to find out more about this song because I'll be honest, I listened to it and I was like, okay, is he like super in love with his car? Or is he super in love with a chick? Or what is going on? So I'm hoping that my guest today, Wes, will bring some insight into that. Wes, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Love what you're doing, Tiffany.
Yes, I'm super excited to dive into Frank Ocean. Now, upon looking up a little bit about him, he was originally born in California in '87. His parents were actually had a little bit of a musical background. I don't know. Did you know that they have a little bit of a musical background?
I heard bits and pieces of it. He doesn't speak a whole lot about it, but his mom for sure. It's definitely inspiring.
Yeah. Yeah, his dad too, quite honestly. His dad was a keyboardist and he sang backup vocal, I believe.
Yeah,
So they both were probably fairly influential in, him having this musical career that he has now.
absolutely.
He's a singer, songwriter, rapper. He was born in California, but he actually relocated to New Orleans.
Hmm.
So he is out of Louisiana.
Hmm.
And I think what people know most about Frank Ocean, if you've heard the name, is just his iconic falsetto.
For sure.
So we're gonna dive into that. Yeah, we're gonna dive into that a little bit. Now, Frank was a ghostwriter for a while, and then now he uses his name. Actually, his middle name was Francis, and so he must
Hmm.
have shortened it to Frank, and so now he goes by Frank Ocean.
Yeah.
But y'all, I wanted to say some of the awards that he's been nominated for. I'm gonna just rattle them all off. He has been nominated, and then he has won some of them. So, Attitude Magazine in 2016 nominated, and he won. BET Hip Hop Awards. He was nominated for a couple of awards there. Billboard Music Awards. He was nominated in 13, 17. He was nominated for the Grammy Awards in 13 for two songs and won them. For three songs. And then 14 and 15, he was nominated. He did not end up winning their GQ awards. He was Rookie of the Year in 2011 and won. In 2011, 2012, he was for the Hip Hop DX Awards and he won both of those nominations. You guys, the list goes on and on. MTV Music Awards in Japan, the MTV U Woody Awards, NME Awards, O Awards, Soul Train Music Awards. Soul Train Music, I suppose, 2011, 2012. That makes sense. Vibe, Webby Awards. You
Yep.
guys, he is very well known. I definitely knew the name, but you got to tell me more. Tell me how you found this guy, what you fell in love with, why you fell in love with him, and why this song White Ferrari.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Frank Ocean, he's definitely skilled in his craft. I think I found him kind of like early on the scene before he was who he is now. I know he got a really good start ghostwriting. I could really appreciate people who don't have a problem with just doing the craft, whether the song goes to them as a singer or Beyonce or whoever he's writing for. It was just the stories he told, they were so vivid, and I just have a passion and love for that. It's almost like you can listen to a song and you can really see the scene that he's painting or singing about. I think it was Thinking About You, one of his like first big singles. Found out a little more about him. I was like, okay, is he just an R&B singer? Then I kind of found out more about his story and how he was just working at Subway, writing songs, and ended up in Hollywood working with some of the biggest artists. It's just something about not only his skill set, but I think his character, how he's just not really like a famous person, quote unquote, but somebody who just really loves to do the craft and kind of let the music
Mm-hmm.
speaks for himself. White Ferrari is one of those beautiful songs where you can just put it on when you're happy or when you're sad, and it just really makes you feel like you can fly. It just
Mm.
it's a timeless song, and those are my favorite kind of records, the ones that don't really have expiration dates to them.
You said some of his songs are these vivid stories. Are there a couple of vivid stories? Okay, A, with other songs, are there a couple of songs that stick out that maybe we'd want to check out? And then
Hmm.
B, what is the vivid story that you see with White Ferrari?
Yeah, so some of his other vivid stories I would say are Pink and White. If you could listen to a song and hear color, I think that would be a perfect song for you to check out. Like just a good song about a summer day. And I just love White Ferrari because it feels nostalgic, talking about when we're older, even when he was younger, what he would dream about. It's just kind of like a perfect day painted, telling that story as an adolescent child. And I'm not sure like what experiences he had to write that song, but I could just feel like whatever he's going through, it really conveys on that song.
Yeah. Is this an artist that you have followed for many years and this is one of those songs that stick out to you? Or did you, I know you said you kind of became aware of him before he really got like famous. Um, or is
Mhm.
this one of those songs that over time caught your attention?
I would say,
Because sometimes people find an artist and then they kind of like
mhm,
grow with that artist. So
for
that's kind
sure.
of what I'm wondering. Like, was this that song that got you, or have you kind of grown with it? Because I know this song didn't come out till 2016.
Yeah, on his Blonde album. Honestly, it took me a while to like this album in general. I remember one of my
Mm.
close friends playing it for me. It didn't really do it for me the first time. I didn't get the hype. Then I listened to it a couple more times and it really grew on me. I started liking him as a singer. You know, you mentioned his falsetto. I really liked his range and just the production on it, how it's so cinematic and it even has like a gospel singer doing ad libs throughout it. I kind of started listening to the song in headphones, and then I was like, wow, I could really appreciate the layers of the song. So it took me a
Mm.
while, but I definitely caught on.
So this is normally a question I ask more towards the end, but it's making me want to ask it now. That when you get new music and like let's date ourselves and say that this is like pre Apple Music, would
Hmm.
you take that leaflet out and did you have to learn the words right away, or did you just have such an appreciation for the music first and then kind of inquire and learn a little bit more maybe lyrically?
That's the second one is me for sure. I have to take
Hmm.
it all in. I have to listen to an album like a watching a movie, like seeing how it makes me feel, um, just seeing the plot they're trying to tell. And then once I watch it or listen to it two or three times, all right, let me see, really dive in here and see what we're talking about.
Hmm.
So that's definitely me
Hmm.
for sure. Yeah, just exploring that world.
That's funny. The first person I interviewed was my mom, and she picked Summer Breeze. Summer Breeze makes me feel fine.
Wow.
And I think that she very much had the same thing where it's just the way that it makes her feel nostalgic, and she can
Hmm.
perfectly vividly see that day. And she's on her bike, and she's, the lavender fields and
Absolutely.
or lavender, maybe it was shoot, I can't remember. But anyways, a
I
fragrant
think it was
flower.
lavender. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah, 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 and, yeah, yeah. Now, I know that you are friends with Alex, who was on a previous episode of mine, and he's a composer. Are you also a composer?
I am, yes. So I
Mhm,
compose my own music. I'm an artist as well, and
mhm,
that is definitely, I think, one of the reasons I like Frank Ocean because he inspires a lot of my work personally as well.
mhm.
Yeah,
When you say that you're a performer, that means that you are singing the song or you're playing the music. What piece of performing are you accomplishing?
I'm doing both. So I produce my work, I write it, and I sing it as well.
Okay, and
Yeah,
you sing it live or do you record it?
I usually record.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. And do you have any music out on Apple Music or Spotify that we could check out?
I do. I would love if you did that. Yes, my name is Wes Harris on Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, wherever you stream, my music's there. to be streamed.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, well, I will have Wes pick out a couple of songs that he would love us to put our ears on and put those in the show notes for you guys, so definitely, pay attention, but I know that Alex had said the same thing about the music, that he just had such an appreciation for the layers. And so,
Hmm.
that makes complete sense to me that you would have an appreciation for the layers as well, because how difficult it is to mix those different things in, and you can hear the idiosyncrasies and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So that would make complete sense to me. I can't help but see an album on the wall behind you. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh yes. Yes, so that is one of my records. It was my first single to hit 100,000
Oh, so
streams. Yeah.
cool.
I released it, I think in 2020. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm real proud of that
Yeah,
plaque. Yep.
awesome. What is the title of that one? That's probably one we need to listen to.
Yes, that one's called Not Normal. And Alex, who was on one of your episodes, mixed that for me.
Awesome.
Not Normal by Wes Harris.
Yeah, he's super talented.
Absolutely.
Now, you record all of this music. What is the direction that you're kind of wanting to go with your music? Are you wanting to be like Frank during his ghostwriter days, or are you trying to be, have a little bit of the spotlight?
I think for me, it's a mixture of both. Like
Mm-hmm.
the music I create is, I call it painting with sound. So I really want it to be encompass a story or give you like a beautiful scenery when you listen to it. So a lot of my music is kind of like alternative cinematic. I'll describe it as.
Okay.
So my big dream is I like the spotlight, but more than the spotlight, seeing my songs land in different movies and
Mm.
different shows.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
cool. What did you say that your style is?
alternative cinematic.
Alternative cinematic. Did you
Yeah.
say something before that?
Yes, painting with sound.
Painting with sound. I love that. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that's probably what I love the most about music, is that vivid story that it takes you on.
Hmm.
I think that that's what's so great about this podcast, is that I'm asking each person, like, how did you paint this song?
Hmm.
Like, this is the song that you listened to, but what did it mean to you in your life? How did you paint the picture of this song? So I
Absolutely.
love that you're saying that you're, yeah, painting with sound.
Yes, thank you. Well said.
Yeah, of course. So, going back to White Ferrari, what do you think set it apart from the other songs? When I asked you and said, what is that song that when you hear it, it takes you back in time, or you have like all this feeling or emotion associated with it? What was that for you?
For me, it reminds me of like one of my favorite road trips going to Nashville, and the weather was just really nice. I was with friends. That song was
Hmm.
playing at high volume. Um, it's almost like a time machine, that song. Like I feel like the memory Frank Ocean is talking about, like I'm kind of envisioning like him living that, but I also think about my favorite moments, like that road trip I just told you about, and it's like it just kind of timestamps that and takes me back every time I hear it.
Yeah. When was that road trip?
That was 2019, before everything shut down.
Oh, before the world changed
Yes,
forever. Went out with a bang, you did.
we did, had to.
And what was the reason for the trip to Nashville?
I was with Alex. I think we are checking out different studios because we are buying some music equipment.
Oh, sure.
So he was just like, "Hey, like, yeah, I got like an all expense paid trip." I was like, "I'm there." So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
definitely one to remember. Yeah.
So even though you are picking an R&B song or an R&B artist of sorts, and you do more cinematic music, was there also like that amazing draw being in Nashville, just with all the recording studios and knowing it's all these talented people? I mean, what was the whole experience for Nashville, even just like for you from your point of view, being the creator that you are?
Yeah. Nashville's definitely just an inspiring place to be. There's talent all around.
Mm,
It was almost just like overwhelming because there's so much inspiration, especially if, a person like yourself loving music and loving history, going to these different
hmm.
studios, hearing the stories about who recorded what, and Amy Winehouse and people from
Oh,
country, people from
sure.
rap. It was just this big mesh pot of
Yeah.
creativity. So I went home and I was definitely on 10 just from all the the history lessons I've learned and, sites I got to see. So it was exciting for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely want to go back.
Yeah. Was it just you and Alex, or did your wives join you, or who
I
got to go on
wish
the
our
trip?
wives would have got to join us. It was just us for this trip, but I did take another trip with my wife, and
Yeah.
she loved it as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Did you take a picture with the iconic wings on the side of the building?
We did had to wait 20 minutes to be a
There's a
tourist.
line for that picture.
Absolutely. Wasn't worth it, but we have the memory.
Yeah, yeah, of course. We have a memory of the line, right?
For sure. For sure.
I know for me, and I know for a couple of other people that I've had on the podcast, they were on a road trip. They had the music up super loud. I just have to know, were you and Alex screaming the lyrics with the music, or were you just taking it all in and absorbing it?
Taking it all in, but mentally I was screaming the lyrics.
I
Yeah.
think that's cool that the song is kind of like a road trip. I mean, that's what he's kind of talking
Hmm.
about is memories and, being in the car and everything. And then you're in the car listening to the song as you're on a road trip. So that's kind
Absolutely.
of cool, kind of a parallel story going on there.
Yeah, it's a great soundtrack
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure you guys probably listened to the whole thing, right?
for sure.
Yeah. Now he only has 2 albums, is that correct?
He has two albums.
Mhm.
Technically, he has three if you have
Okay.
Apple Music, because I think it's
Mm.
called Endless. That's it. Yep. So it's Endless, Blonde, and then Channel Orange. But Nostalgia Ultra, that's a mixtape he released.
Okay. Got a podcast? Are you loving it, but not loving how much time post production takes? Or maybe you just have other tasks calling your name a little bit louder. Virtually You can help. Check out virtuallyuva.com, supporting you in all things podcasting like editing, show notes, audiograms, and much more. See the link in the show notes. They're waiting to give you back your time. And on that note, let's get back to the show. When you listen to the song, are there any specific lyrics that stick out to you? Is there any part that you're like, "Oh, here it comes, here it comes"?
Yeah,
Mhm.
there is. I know one of them I love is the lines, I didn't care to state the plain, kept my mouth closed, we're both familiar, White Ferrari, good times. Those lyrics, it's just the way he sings. It's like a certain
Mm.
emotion you feel.
The delivery,
Um,
yeah, and the
yeah, the
emotion, yep.
delivery of them. I love
Mhm.
that one
Mhm. And I would almost guess that it's easy or fun to sing along because he's in the same range as you. Usually we like artists that we can kind of sing along with or, appreciate their range. So, which was what you said.
for sure.
But I'm assuming if you like that delivery, it's probably fun to imitate as well.
It is. I can't sing like Frank Ocean. That's one prayer that I have. But in my head, that's what I sound like. That's what I envision myself.
Yeah, well, I have to agree with you when you said in the beginning of the interview that you didn't know what all the hype was about when you first listened to it. You were like, didn't like hit you square. And I
Hmm.
would say the same thing. Like I pulled up White Ferrari and I was like, okay, can't wait to hear where this is gonna go. But then I told my
Yeah,
daughter, I was like, oh, do you want to hear? I always ask her, like, do you want to hear the song that I'm interviewing about today? Yeah, okay. So I pulled it up and she kind of had a similar reaction. But then all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute. I kind of like he does like a similar like when he says the sentences, he starts and he like drips down a couple of notes and then he starts the sentence up high and he drips down a couple of notes again. And I was like, "Oh,
hmm,
I kind of like that I can expect what that's going to sound like even though if I don't know the words, like I kind of like that I knew how
yeah,
the next line was going to begin." So, I don't know. I was like, "Okay, maybe I actually like it." And then I was like, "Okay, let me listen to it again."
yeah.
So, yeah, it must be like an acquired taste, but
For
I think
sure.
because it doesn't sound like everything else, right? It's a little bit more slow and I'm
Hmm.
definitely tightly wound. So I'm like, get to the point, what's the
Yeah,
next thing? What say the next part. So yeah, just to slow down and absorb the song. So if you guys decide that you want to listen to the song, just know it's a little bit slower, but it is like that carefree, go for a car ride, put the windows down. I can see someone with their hand, out the window
hmm,
doing like the snake wave or whatever in the
absolutely.
breeze. So Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it is a nice, relaxing, beautiful song for sure.
it is.
Is there a specific time when you pull this song out? Like, is it I know that you said you can listen to it when you're happy or when you're sad, but is there a specific time that this song you're like, "You know what? I'm gonna put on some Frank Ocean and listen to White
Mhm.
Ferrari."
Um, Probably like in a sunset, like if I happen to be driving,
Mm,
or sometimes you're just in one of those moods where you wanna hear something, but not with heavy drums
yeah.
or not, like, too upbeat.
Mhm.
So one of those moments where you just wanna zone out is usually when I put on that
Okay.
song. Or, like, if you're in, like, a real serene area, like, by the beach or the mountains, it just kinda paints that picture for me.
Mhm, mhm,
Yeah,
I can see that because it's
right
super
f
chill.
it
So
is. It is.
very
Yeah,
airy, like, light yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Well, Wes, is there anything else that you wanna share about this song with my audience?
Yes, I think you should definitely check it out. Check out his album Blonde as a whole, and just go into it with a open ear and look for the creativity more than the hits, I would say, and you'll find something to appreciate.
Mhm.
I think you'll like it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that. I love that maybe if they're going on a road
yeah,
trip.
perfect for a road trip.
Or if you got a lot of time in the airport and you wanna distract yourself, that would be good
Yeah,
too.
especially if you have noise canceling headphones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right? So you can stay calm and chill.
yeah, absolutely. Listen to the
Well, thank
layers.
you so much, Wes. I really appreciate your insight and what you had to say about White Ferrari. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you for allowing me to be on your podcast. It's definitely an honor.
Oh, awesome. Podcast land, I hope you go check this song out. It's going to be on the playlist on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. I'm going to have the links for some of Wes's music so you can check out some of his songs as well and give him props. And I just hope that you guys enjoyed the song and what Wes had to say about the memories and the feelings that he had about this beat. Podcast land, thank you so much for listening. If you had a few memories of your own pop up with this episode, make sure to take a screenshot, tag me on social, Tiffany Mason or virtually you, and share those memories. I know y'all are listening, and I'd love to hear the memories you were reminded of with this song. Also, would you do me a favor and share this episode with someone you think would enjoy it? This is the best way you can help me to grow my audience. Can't wait to dive into my next guest's memories with a beat. Hit subscribe now. You don't want to miss the next episode.